Why teaching myself marketing was the best business move I have ever made. Back in 2010, I was published in a magazine for the first time. I had written a book about drumming. I was a professional drummer at the time and sent it off to my favorite magazines, hoping to get my name out there a little bit. The magazine had written a review of my book, which was nice and impressed my friends. I didn't want to stop there, though. I thought there was scope for more. If the magazine's editors weren't going to write a longer article about my book, then I decided I would do it myself. I wrote a long interview style article, took a picture of myself by setting a camera on a timer, and sent it to a magazine asking if they wanted to publish it. It was a bit of a long shot. To my absolute amazement, they printed it as a double page spread almost word for word. This happened 4 times in different drumming magazines around the world. I sold an unprecedented number of books, DVDs, and drumming courses as a result. I immediately realized that what the biggest companies have known all along. The strong marketing is the difference between commercial success and outright failure. But my experience proved that you didn't need to be a big company to be successful. Fast forward 2 years, and I was selling websites to tradesmen. I noticed though that these tradesmen weren't really online much, but they did read lots of magazines. These magazines talked about everything except how to get more customers. So I decided to crack open Microsoft Word again and write some articles about why tradesmen needed websites. I found out the names of the editors and emailed my articles to them. About 50% of the articles I sent out were picked up and published. At the end of the article, I had mentioned that readers could contact me if they were interested in getting a website. My phone went crazy for the next 2 weeks every time one of those article was published. The magazine world has changed immeasurably since 2010, and I'm not going to insult your intelligence by banging on about the digital revolution or any of those phrases that people use to explain what's blindingly obvious to anyone who hasn't been living in a cave with no signal. The good news with all of this is that the number of publications, I use the term loosely to include blogs, news sites, journals, and online magazines, has increased exponentially. Everywhere you look online, there are places where your target audience is hanging out, hungry for more content. Whether it's a tech geeks studying Wired or Tech Radar or fans of long gone railways reading Inscrutables hobby websites, the internet has enabled viral publication growth by lowering the barrier to entry and allowing almost anyone to become a publisher. What this means for savvy business of all shapes and sizes, from the one man bands like me back in the day to larger companies with huge ad budgets and ambitious growth goals. It is that getting yourself in front of your target audience, wherever they are spending their time, is simpler than ever. Journalists and editors who make the decisions about what to write used to be difficult to track down. It was all meeting for coffee and networking, networking, networking. If you didn't have the connections, you you couldn't get to the people that you needed unless you were willing to wine and dine. Introverts rejoice. Now, these journalists are on Twitter right now using hashtags like hash pre-request and hash journ or request to find people to feature in their articles. I have been featured in Forbes, The Telegraph, and The Guardian in the last 2 months just through responding to a few tweets. Inquiry services send out hundreds of emails a day from journalists looking for businesses like yours to talk to about pretty much anything. It's how we have got our clients on national newspaper sites and live on BBC TV. And you can do it all without even having to get trust. The visibility and the credibility benefit of this new digital PR landscape are obvious. It truly is easier than ever to be seen in the sort of cash publications that instantly elevate your status in your market. But visibility and credibility are not the only benefit of using strategies in this book. In fact, they are not even the primary benefit for a lot of our clients. See, we originally started our digital PR department to get our clients' websites ranking higher. Google rewards businesses that are seen everywhere with better ranking. So, getting yourself featured on lots of different websites grows your ranking, traffic, and business. Later on, you will read some case studies of business we have grown, launched, and transformed using the exact same digital PR strategies that we will be showing you. There are no secrets, and we have held nothing back. This book is plain English, no experience necessary, step by step guide to making the most of the huge opportunity to grow your business using content marketing and digital PR. It's written mainly by Charlie and Luke, the super ninja double team that heads up our 24 strong digital PR department and exposure ninja. They are in the trenches doing this stuff day in, day out, working for our clients and developing new ways to make them known. I hope you find what they share valuable, and I hope that you try it with to I hope that you try it out yourself. Remember that if you need any help with anything you read about this book, we are here to help you. Visit our website at exposureninja.com and we will be glad to give you a hand. Tim. Hello, 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 hello. Mic testing. Hello, 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 hello. What is, what is a digital PR and how can it benefit my business? You have got a small business and you want a potential customers to know about it. You have set up a website that looks pretty okay and registered your social media accounts, sharing a little bit of content here and there. There's maybe a dribble of traffic coming to your website, but in the big competitive world of the internet, the reality is that nobody knows who you are. How do you get your business noticed in the sea of other businesses? How do you hook in customers? You have got to get people talking about you. You have got to find what your target. You have got to get people talking about you. You have got to find what your target customers are reading and get your business some coverage on what on that website. You can work around the clock telling as many as people that will listen. How do you get your business noticed in the sea of other businesses? How do you hook into customers? You have got to get people talking about you. You have got to find what your target customers. You have got to get people talking about you. You have got to find what your target customers are reading and get your business some coverage on that website. You can work around the clock telling as many people that will listen about your business and you will still be just a drop in the ocean that you are talking to start to tell their friends and then they tell their friends. You can be at the million mark in under 15 minutes. Why small business especially need a digital PR strategy? How to use this book to run your own totally ninja digital PR campaign. In 2015, we started work with the performance management software company who provides software for HR teams in SMEs. They had a simple but effective website already up and wanted to build up their brand name before the official launch of their software, which was still being developed at the time. You, the guy running the business was ahead of the game. He would he had done his research. He knew that the trends and his software was set about set to blow his competitors out of the water. But his business was new. It was small and no one had heard of them yet. We started building up a list of websites, magazines, and blogs that were well ready by HR professionals and reached out to editors offering articles about new trends in the performance management industry. We successfully placed content with a number of small but still influential websites in the sector. Smaller sites tend to be more receptive when receiving content from businesses, companies, especially ones which aren't well published. The value of smaller niche publications should never be underestimated. These are the important foundation for a digital PR campaign. Once our client's name and the business had been featured on a number of different websites, we set our sights higher. We began pitching to the big boys in the HR in industry, looking for publications where our articles would really start to get PR, start to get some traction. We sent editors We send the editors links to our other published articles to show that this business is really new their stuff and would provide incredibly valuable content to the bigger websites. Our content got accepted. We published more and more articles and soon we struck lucky. One of our articles on new performance management trends in 2016 went up on the minutehawk.com and an advice website for small business owners in the UK. The article got shared on over 400 social media shares, mostly in LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, the snowballs had started. HR professionals began to pick up the article through LinkedIn, and inquiries about the software and requests for demos began rolling in. That same month, we spoke to a journalist from the Guardian's small business sector. They, they had seen our client featured in a number of publications talking about effective management strategies and asked him to provide a code for a feature being written on business success. Together with the client, we wrote up a killer comment about managing performance and motivating employees. The comment was published in the article on the Guardian's website, including a link to the client's website. Months ago, no one had heard of this company or the guy running it. Now he was in the UK's most authoritative online newspaper. Small accounts really do grow mighty oak trees. Why understanding PR has never been so important. PR is the art of creating and maintaining a favorable impression of your company among consumers and influencers. It's become cliche to say that we live in a connected world. The average Briton spent 2 hours and 51 minutes online every single day in 2015, roughly equivalent to one in every 6 working time minutes. The younger generation, representing the media consumption habits of the future, spend more time online and less time in front of the TV than their elder counterparts. They have been dubbed the code cutters for ditching cable in favor of online streaming options offered by the likes of YouTube and Netflix. Never before has it been so easy to have your message seen by so many people. Every day, more people are connecting to the internet and spending longer online, while innovative content creation tools are making it possible for anyone with something to sell to put together valuable and share worthy content. Millennials get their political news not from newspapers or TV, but from Facebook, which, by the way, has 1.49 billion monthly active users. And it's not just millennials and teens. 63% of all Twitter's 300 million monthly users read the latest tweets to catch up on the news too. Half of people under 35 view social media sites as being just the important source of news as television and print. But even more important than the amount of people using the internet and treating it as a valuable source of information are the connection and social groups that form online. What's most exciting is not the big numbers, as very few businesses will have something that's a billion people want. You know, what's most exciting is not, but even more important than the amount of people using the internet and treating it as a valuable source of information are the connections and social groups that form online. What's the most exciting is not the big numbers, as very few businesses will have something that a billion people want. What's much more exciting is that these big numbers are built from millions upon millions of different needs. Whether it's Chihuahua owners, Chihuahua puppy breeders, or people who dress up as Chihuahuas at the weekends, if your audience shares a common interest, trait, or goal, you can be in front of them within seconds. Wherever they live, whatever they spend their time doing, and whichever magazines they read, they are all there reading blogs and using social media. At Exposure Ninja, we spend all day working business on the front line. It's very rare, almost unheard of. That's that we will see a market with more than couple of players using digital PR. Content marketing, social media really effectively, whether it's a lack of resources or an unwillingness to take the risk. Your competitors are almost certainly underusing online PR and social media. Whether it's a lack of resources or unwillingness to take the risk, your competitors are almost certainly underusing in online PR and social media. So it's up to you to figure out a path that helps you grow. Don't wait for things to be perfect before you start. And remember, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man, social media really effectively, whether it's what's most exciting is not at Exposure Ninja. We spend all the day working with a range of businesses in the front line. It's very rare, almost unheard of. What's most exciting is not the big numbers, as really few businesses will have something that a billion people want. What's much more exciting is that these big numbers are built from millions upon millions of different niche in spelling and thus highlight Oxford Dictionary. A shallow research, especially one in a world, especially such suitable. Whether it's Chihuahua, what's most exciting is not the big numbers, as very few businesses will have something what billion people want. What's much more exciting is that these big numbers are built from millions upon millions of different needs. Whether it's Chihuahua owners or Chihuahua puppy breeders or people who dress up as Chihuahuas at the weekend, if your audience shares a common interest, trait, or goal, you can be in front of them within seconds, wherever they live, whatever they spend their time doing, and whichever magazines they read. They're all there reading blogs and using social media. At Exposure Ninja, we spent all day working with a range of businesses on different line. It's very rare, almost unheard of, that we will see a market with more than couple of players using that we will see a market with more than a couple of players using digital PR, content marketing and social media really effectively. Whether it's a lack of resources or an unwillingness to take the risk, your competitors are almost certainly underusing online PR and social media. So it's up to you to figure out a path that help you grow. Don't wait for things to be perfect before you start. And remember, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is the king. Anytime you are doing something better than your competitors, keep doing it. Your efforts in building your business online profile could will be the most important thing you do for your business this decade. Why small businesses need a PR strategy more than everyone else? Think that you are too small to need a PR strategy? Think again. Every company has a public image which reflects that people think about them and why people chose to do business with them. The difference between a company with a PR strategy and a one that doesn't is that the PR savvy company is able to influence its public image in a way that it's beneficial, while the passive company simply lets others dictate the conversation without putting forward their own voice. This has always been true, but it has become even more true in the digital age. Not only does each company have an invisible public image which is made up of fluffy thoughts, feelings, and views that consumers have about a company, but a company now also has a highly visible manifestation of their public image in the conversation that people are having about that company publicly online. Each retweet, like, and share, each star on Amazon, each testimonial left on your company's website, each blog post written about your products represents a manifestation of your public image that whole world has access to. While magazine coverage quickly became outdated and bad reviews were soon forgotten in the age of print, now bad reviews linger indefinitely in Google's archives, potentially haunting business owners months and years after the original reviewers had that one less than perfect interaction with your company. Nowhere is this more apparent than with the arrival of review websites like TripAdvisor.com. New restaurants and cafes literally live or die by their TripAdvisor reviews, with anything less than 4 stars essentially invisible to discerning customers looking for a place to eat. Almost the very first thing that a potential customer will do when deciding whether to do a business with your company is Google your name, and their decision to buy or not to buy will be hugely influenced by what they see that others have said online. When a 11-25-year-old wants to know what kind of shoes or computer to buy, they don't look in newspapers and they certainly don't ask their parents. They ask Google instead. Digital PR, the art of making sure that your customers only see good things when they put your name into a search engine. How to use this to book Totally Ninja Digital PR campaign. If you are reading this book, you are either a small business owner looking to run their own digital PR campaign. We will get to that later. Or you are a marketing professional looking to add a new string to their bow. Or you are, of course, we think that the best way to use this book is to read it cover cover, back to front, and sleep with it under your pillow. But we would say that we wrote it. This book is designed to be a killer, all killer, no filler. If you don't think it's useful or interesting to someone running their own business, we haven't included it in it. That being said, there are a number of people that will be reading this book more like a guide for DIY, do-it-yourself digital PR, and we have tried to make it easy as possible for people to use it in that way too. In this book, we shared what we have learned about planning and doing digital PR for businesses of all sizes. The goal is to give you everything you need to start using it for your business. Even if you have no prior experience, to help you achieve this goal, we have included a number of action points. An action point is a simple actionable instruction that you can carry out for your business or project. If you carry out all the action points listed on this book, then congratulations, you will be running your first Ninja digital PR campaign. Setting goals for your digital PR campaign. Digital PR is a marketing activity, and marketing activities should be judged primarily on their ability to bring in a return of investment. Generally, if something costs more money than it brings in, then it should be either tweaked or dropped. And yet, so few businesses really know whether their marketing activity is bringing them ROI or not. Why they just aren't tracking the figures. What does a digital PR success look like? Reviewing the metrics of success, setting smart goals, direct sales, become an authority figure in your field, gain influence and following the social media, create an awesome email database and newsletter signups. Now, admittedly, some activities are easier to track others. If you spend $500 promoting a product and you make a profit of $1,000 as a result, that's simple. But calculating the value that a social media campaign or digital PR campaign that adds to your business can be trickier. Still, too many business people throw their hands up at the first hurdle and say, well, it's to look like kind of tricky and I won't even try. This is an attitude that is unacceptable in every other area of running a business, so it makes no sense to indulge it in here. To this end, we are going to use this to talk about measuring the current success of your business, identifying clear, achievable goals for your digital PR campaign, measuring the success of your digital PR campaign, and making adjustment accordingly. If you set out to see without any idea where you are going or how you are going to get there, it will likely to be very long time until you reach and land again. The even more pertinent question to ask yourself is why you are going out there in the first place. Without knowing this, there is no guarantee that you will reach the paradise island you dreamt of, and even less of guarantee that it is actually the place that you really want to be when you get there. In the same way, your digital PR goals will map your map out your campaign and will let you know when you have successfully achieved at your final objective. Different business should have different objectives. The aim of every business is to make money, but the best route this goal will depend on the state that they are in. A multinational company might make the most money by expanding their existing product or service into a new market, but a small business might not even be known in their own hometown, let alone abroad. If objectives are clearly outlined and measurable, then they are much easier to achieve. A plan such as be the best accountancy firm in my city gets points for ambition but falls flat because best in something that can be defined in multiple ways. Are we talking about being the firm that makes the most money in is best now or delivers the best service here? The three are in mutually exclusive but each uh, requires a very different plan to achieve them. The last important reason for having a plan is because it makes it much easier to reflect and make changes as you go along. Very few people get any marketing activity perfectly right first time around. But so long as you are measuring your targets, you can see how or why you have drifted off course and take reasonable steps to get back on track. Doing more of what works and less of what doesn't is an admirable business strategy. But to be effective, you need to have working and not working clearly defined for your business. I'm creating an audiobook. So let's look at various ways of measuring the success of. In fact, it's not an audiobook, it's an audio-visual book. Let's look at various ways of measuring. Along with I'm practicing my speaking skill, reading skill, learning skill, and also my passion to acquire some knowledge about the content marketing and digital PR. That's what I'm doing now. So I don't know how much it will be a success, but after all, it gives me some confidence. So let's look at various ways of measuring. Break. No. What? ഇതൊന്ന് പറയാനുണ്ടല്ലോ അവരെന്താ പറയല് ക്ലാപ്പ് ലൈവായിട്ട് പോയിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. Cut it, yeah, cut it. So let's look at various ways of measuring the success of your business digital PR strategy. Many of the measurable measures will be related to the success of your business website, which is of the particular focus for any digital PR campaign. If you haven't already done so, now would be a good time to get a free website review over at our website. Increasing sales. There are one metrics that any business can't fail to track, that sales. Sales is the oxygen that keeps any business alive and is a perfectly good metric for tracking your digital PR success. Sales results are also numbers that are fairly hard to argue with or misinterpret. Th- Through Though obviously it's important to identify which of your sales are most profitable. Remember that tracking sales or any other metric isn't simply a case of comparing your January numbers to your February numbers, attributing any increase to the digital PR campaign that started on February 1st. We are big fans of conversion tracking using analytics software such as Google Analytics, and by monitoring the proportion of your customers that came through PR links and through increased organic search traffic, you can far more accurately assign sales to your DPR activity. Does your business take sales calls by phone rather than having your sales team ask leads where they discovered you? Does your business take sales calls by phone rather than having your sales team ask leads where they discovered you? This generally leads to fuzzy and incomplete results. Consider using call tracking software to generate trackable numbers which give accurate data down to the outcome of the call. If you got a niche e-commerce property and your goal is to increase sales, for example, a blogger outreach program that has high authority, niche bloggers reviewing and running contests giving away your products can drive a lot of highly qualified and commercial traffic to your site, increasing sales of the products featured significantly. We'll look at a blogger outreach in chapter 7. If your PR work isn't focused on driving sales of a particular product or service, but rather raising awareness of your business as a whole, then website traffic can be a good measure of a performance. A certain percentage of the visitors to your site will convert to customers, and percentages of visitors will click off your website without taking any meaningful action. Getting a lot of traffic is important, but it won't mean anything for your business if you have a low conversion rate or a high bounce rate, because these generally mean that either your website isn't up to scratch or the traffic you are generating isn't qualified. As mentioned above, Google Analytics provide plenty of useful traffic data that you can use to measure progress. It's worth noting that here that many of our clients who come to us complaining of a traffic problem, not enough people are visiting my website, are actually suffering from a conversion problem of the visitors that arrive. Too few are sufficiently motivated to inquire or buy. It's likely that everyone who is considering a digital PR campaign knows the importance of keyword ranking. If you rank highly in Google for a keyword like buy Nike trainers, Nike trainers, then you are just move or two away from an early retirement on a beautiful Mediterranean island. The most recent studies show that ranking in the organic free position will get you over 30% of the clicks from search result page. So it's no surprise that prominent organic ranking is the top of many marketers' priority list. A digital PR campaign is one of the most effective ways we have found to improve the ranking of any website because it's a good way to attract backlinks. A stable backlinks from respected website is one of the Google's three main ranking factors. This is because the internet is a lot like popularity contest, and a backlink is just like a being talked about. If you are being talked, getting, then you must be popular. And if the coolest kids are talking about you, they must be one of the coolest kids too. For more ideas on improving your website ranking, check out the book How to Get to the Top of Google. Perhaps more important than the amount of your traffic you receive, the type of traffic you receive. As alluded to before, you are rewarded when visitors have meaningful engagements with your websites, and you get penalized when people bounce off it. This means that you really should be identifying what your main audience actually looks like and tailoring your marketing efforts accordingly. Are your biggest customers 18 to 24-year-old Asian men that went to university, have no children, and have an income of $150 K plus? Then you should be advertising in, or at least emulating the Economist website that is most often read by about description. One tool audience analysis of this kind is while a good digital PR campaign will increase your website's traffic in Ninja. Digital PR campaign will emphasize driving the right kind of traffic. As an example, creating high quality infographics that get shared in the right places can be an extremely effective way to increase traffic as people share and repost them, funneling more traffic to your site each time. Building authority. So far, we have been thinking in terms of easily quantifiable stuff like such as sales, traffic, and ranking. But what about those concepts that are fluffier but not out business defining, such as influence, trustworthiness, and authority? These concepts have always existed in business. For as long as there have been traders, there have been traders that people trust and traders that are known to cheat, traders that are known to have the best goods and traders that are known to have the worst goods and stand out from the crowd. Until the digital age, this kind of knowledge was difficult to measure, but now that's everyone is online, and our conversation, emails, and interactions are in Google's archived and NSA's databases. It is becoming possible to quantify a previously intangible concept such as authority. One of the most useful tools for measuring a website's authority is domain authority. Domain authority looks at a website's popularity, age, and size, gives you a number of between 1 and 100. The most authoritative websites are scored highly, while less trustworthy sites low score the vulnerable. While less trustworthy sites get lower score, the venerable BBC site has a DA of 100, whereas Shady Spam site might have a score of 10 or lower. Websites that have a higher DA tend to be more profitable than business with lower DA and will usually rank much higher. A website's DA is not yet a measure that typical customers use knowingly, but users are more likely to buy from high DA websites as this score reflects website ranking on search engines as well as website quality and user friendliness. A higher authority website is likely to be one of the first good looking websites someone lands on when searching on Google. You can add a toolbar to your browser that lets you see websites at a glance over most.com. We will look how to get your business covered in the media. Exerting influences. Influence is key concept in public relations. The idea is simple. Some people are particularly influential, and these people set the trends that the rest of the world follow. Celebrities, be they TV stars like Kim or the Twitter, YouTube stars like Stella, that are followed by hundreds of millions of under 20-year-olds can catapult business to new levels of popularity with a tweet. photo or a video featuring on one of their products. Top fashion bloggers can command $5,000 to just feature a brand's product in one post, reportedly paying to appear Instagram post. The magnitude of these payments indicate the profit that this authority can generate, and if you are already clued in the digital PR game, you might be either thinking of working with one of these influential people or building the people within your brand up to the influencers. Like authority influences is a metric that can be measured. Cultivating brand trust and credibility. In order to get any traffic that comes to your website to convert the actual paying customers who are spending all their green ones on your products or services, you need to create a brand that people trust. We already touched on the fact that a higher authority